be the heavyweight champion of the world. Maybe a socialite with a long string of pearl. You got to serve somebody. You got to serve somebody. Might be the devil, might be the law. You got to serve somebody. You might even low, might not even have anywhere to go. You might be rich or poor, maybe you're blind or lame, living in another country, under another name. You got to serve somebody. You got to serve somebody.
Hey, last Paul here. I'm back. But I finished the trail which I wanted to do. Originally I wanted to do just the desert section of the PCT, but it got me so excited that I also completed the Sierra, the High Sierra section, at least the part of the John Muir Trail. And I got a lot of questions on my gear since I presented a gear video, and I think gear is really essential. So I wanted to give you some rating on all of my gear which I used and some of the items I didn't use. And yeah, that's it. So the gear you will see is my personal opinion, no sponsoring, nothing. And the gear is rated for me how much value it added or how much worth was it for me in the desert section and in the High Sierra. And we were in the High Sierra in May, so it was a little cold. So this is part of my rating, how we could use it there. So I want to start with the backpack from Z-Packs. It's a brand new model. It's called the Arc Hall Ultra in gray. I liked it. They say the material is ultra robust and it's super light. I would say it is very robust. I had some problems with it. I fixed it with Silnet. There was a problem here with the mesh. I sent it to Z-Packs. They had a very good service. They sent me a loaner bag for 2 weeks. I had a blue loaner bag on some of the videos around Tehachapi, I think. Overall, I would give it an 8 out of 10 as a rating. I think the best thing on this Ultra pack is that it weighs really not a lot. It's kind of comes in at 600 grams. It has a very stable Hall frame, which is curved right from the beginning. So if it's not overloaded, it gives you quite a little bit of breathing in your bag, which I like most. I have detached already the for my flight the hip belt. So I really liked it, and the most positive thing is it's very ultralight. You cannot find a lighter pack. It's kind of 600 grams and it's very robust, and this is what I really like about it. The next thing would be my Enlightened Equipment Enigma 10 degree quilt. It goes down to 10 Fahrenheit, which is minus 10 Celsius. That is, I mean, that is kind of not really the guidance that you would expect. So I think it's warm enough around freezing and a little bit below freezing. I would tend to give it a kind of a 9 or a 10 in the rating out of 10, because it was super light. It is 950 fill, but it broke on me 2 times in the area where the snaps are. So the first snap was defect right when it came, and the second snap did break during the hike. The company promised me to give me $25 or so refund for tailoring it, but I would have tended to give it a higher rating, but therefore I give it only an 8 out of 10, because I think These things are just plastic and they are very super light. The down I liked a lot, and I also liked the resistance was. It didn't lose basically any down and was quite warm. And under the quilt I had my Therm-a-Rest X-Lite, and I had a kind of a super light model. It's kind of transparent model, and I liked it a lot. It never failed on me for 3 months now, and I really liked it a lot more than the Ultralight, because the Ultralight was not warm enough on me on the when I did my Tour de Mont Blanc. I also like the inflatable pump here, which is just 50 grams, and yeah, it has the same weight as a pump sack, so I really liked it. What I forgot is my 950 long wide ultralight quill has just kind of 730 grams or something. Yeah, that's kind of, I try to give you the weight as well. And yeah, I really love the mat. I would give it a 9 out of 10. Didn't have any problem. Took little care of it because I didn't want to get a problem. One thing which is very important on the quilt is you have to find the right technique to bend it around your mattress, which I didn't do right in the first week. And after I did it right with these two straps here, I found it quite warm in the night. It was kind of rare that I got some draft. In addition, I used this mat. You probably have seen it. I liked it. It's a full size mat, 180 centimeters times 55 or so. It's difficult to get. It's from Cyrex, but it weighs only half of the weight of a Therm-a-Rest. I think it comes in at 180 grams or so, which is kind of, you can use it as a zip pad, or I sort out my stuff on it, or I took it as an entry before I laid out in front of my tent. So what else did I use? I mean, then I have the most used tent of the whole PCT, which is a CPEX duplex tent. I mean, this, you can easily give this tent a 9 or a 10 out of 10. Because it weighs just 500 grams or so, and for this I really think it's a maximum point you can give it to it. There's a lot of people who also use, especially in the desert, some freestanding tents, and they have an argument because sometimes the stakes do not hold well enough in the sandy ground. And then the freestanding tents are a little bit better against the wind. This broke down on me in a storm on a ridge. But I mean, it was my fault. I shouldn't have put it up on a ridge in a storm. Didn't look at the wind advisory. But for the weight of 500 grams, I would give it 10 out of 10 points. In addition, I will give 10 out of 10 points for the polychrome ground sheet, because it lasted now 3.5 months. It weighs basically nothing. It has 100 grams, and I put some addition to it so they can fix it with stakes on the ground. I put at the corners a little duct tape with the hole in it, and had some shock cord around it so it can fix it with my stakes. The stakes, basically, there were great stakes, and every stake which was kind of the MSR groundhog style or the CPEX style, these were the best for the desert because they had a lot of resistance and they went into hard ground as well. So there's the big ones, then we have smaller ones. There's the same manufacturer, I think, as the MSR groundhogs. I got some replacements from the groundhogs. I didn't like the big Agnes so much because they have a little different style here, but they will get a lot dirtier and you cannot get easily the dirt out of it. Then there's these shepherd hook style. These work good in meadows, or I used it to fix my polygrow on the ground. In addition, I would give these kind of stakes 10 out of 10, and the shepherd as well, The Big Agnes was not that good, maybe 6 out of 10. And what I forgot, I started with the Vargo Titanium Ultralight needle pins, yeah. And I had 4, and 4 were broken. So I don't have anything anymore. So the Vargo Ultralight Titanium, not the Shepherds, but the nails, they did not last very well. So all of them were damaged at the end of the day. As a pillow, I used the C-Packs Tri-Sag with the soft side. I loved it. I love it more than the inflatable pillows. Even the one disadvantage is if you haven't washed your clothes and stuff it in there, it will stink a little bit, but when you fall asleep, we will be okay. On the electronic side, I only show you the most important parts. I had a solar panel, which is kind of this size. It's kind of a cheap Amazon model with the USB. This works only kind of in emergency situation. If you lay it out in the sun at noon, it will charge your phone 20 or 30% in an hour, which is for emergency situation very good, but it's a little clunky to pack in, so I didn't like it as much. And in the Sierra, I got rid of it, took it off and sent it home. Yeah, did not work so well. Then I had 2 power banks. This was my original power bank. It's, don't know the brand, but it worked quite okay. I think it's PowerEd or something like this, 10 milliamps. And then when I lost this, I ordered this one. It's a big hype on the night course because the original one weighs 190 grams and these weigh only 150 grams, the night core, so they're much lighter. It charges my phone very fast, a little bit faster than the PowerEd, but I did not like the sharp edges because they could destroy some of your tent stuff. So this is not a good thing here, the sharp edges. I like this really a little bit more, even if it charges my phone not as fast as this one. I took this as sound box only for the hotel stays. I love the Creative Labs. This weighs only 150 grams, but it got me some nice music in the town stays. One thing which was very special is, maybe you saw that on my recordings, I used the headphones with the microphone here and put some wind protection, and this helped a lot to do a better recording within wind situation when I didn't forget it. And in the Sierra, in the desert, you had a lot of wind. What else did I use? On the pot and cooking side, I used the Snow Peak 700, was big enough for most of the requirements. I added some silicone cubes to it that I could touch it even when it was hot. So I give it a 9 out of 10. It was very good. And I used this underlying Avenue Pot 570 for having coffee and muesli, which was really my standard setup for my second breakfast or early lunch. So maybe 8 out of 10. This is the more size that you need, 700 milliliters, 9 out of 10. The one thing I added to it was a Toaks lid, where I also added here the tube, but I didn't like the Toaks lid. Maybe I give it only 5 out of 10 because it has very sharp edges and destroyed a little bit my DCF bag. And then I had a kind of a C2 Summit spoon. The very important thing about the spoon is that you have a long handle spoon that you get also in the corners of your cooking pot. I give this is an 8 out of 10. Very important, this one maybe gets a 10 out of 10. It's a Victorinox knife and it has the 6 functions. It has a knife for sure. It has the most important function are scissors. And for me, the most important thing is a kind of a nail clipper where you can put out and clip your nails, which is very important on the trail, that your nails are not getting too long. So just 37 grams or something, very light, loved it. Soto, this is my stove and I really liked it. After 2 months, the igniter lost function. Maybe it was the sand in the desert. but Soto sent me a replacement free of charge for the igniter. I could attach it myself, and I did have the Triflex stove on it, so meaning this is the ultralight version where you can arrest your pot on it and you put it on top of the stove. I really liked it, and I've spoken a lot about it. My personal luxury was the my French press of coffee. I just had here the filtering system, and I put this on top of it, and then I used it for my Snow Peak 700, and I had 0.5 liters, 0.6 liters of very nice coffee. Very high rating also for the CPAX purse. Very light, you can get money in it and get a lot of cards in it, maybe 10 cards or so in money, and also some coins into it. Super light, you need things like that for an ultralight hike. Then let's go to the water filtering system. In the desert, it's really complicated. I'm still reading some Facebook comments where they said that there's problems with water, with bacteria and so on. I never had a problem with my Sawyer. I give it a 9 out of 10, especially with that blue attachment, because with the blue attachment you can hang it in the tree and then it will filter your water. The only thing is you have to make sure that if you hang it like this, your bladder will be on top of it, and then you add the blue ring, and under the blue ring you add your water bottles. But the lower bottle where you hang here should be a little loose so that air gets in, but then you can hang it in the tree. 9 out of 10, really loved it. The only thing why it doesn't get 10 out of 10 is because you have to take care that it's not freezing at night, and sometimes it wasn't promised to not freeze, but then it froze. It was a little bit, yeah, that's the risk when you have such a water filter. I also love the CNOC for my filtering activity. I love the 3 liters because the 3 liters adds a lot of simplicity to your setup, because 3 liters is mostly what you need in the desert. Yeah, if you get to a water source, then 3 liters might be enough, and then you just have one filtering procedure, not 2 or 3 filtering procedures. And I put some rope on it so you could hang it in a tree, put the Sawyer beyond it, and then filter it. In addition, for very questionable water, I added the micropore drops. There are red ones which add some chlorid taste to it, and then the blue ones which take the taste then out of it. The red ones are gone, they were empty, but when the water was very questionable, I put some of the drops in there as well, and they are lighter and smaller than the Aquamira drops. Take the red ones and the blue ones and you'll be fine as an additional safety to your water filtering system. For a towel, this is enough. If someone tells you differently, you're wrong. This is enough. This is kind of more than a head-sized towel. It will dry out everything. For emergency, so you can add these tablets. If you put water on these, they will be towels as well. You can use it for everything. They're biodegradable, and so you will have some additional comfort on it. So let's go to the other tools which I had. The ice axe, didn't use a lot. On Mother Pass I used it, on I think on Glen Pass. It is the Grivel Ghost, and I did it wrong. It's too short for myself. It's kind of 55 centimeters. I should have got a size of 70 centimeters, but I took duct tape and put a trekking pole on it, which worked quite well, so it was okay. I don't know if you really need it in the Sierra. This would be an item which is a lot bulky. It's maybe, yeah, I could have gone without, but you don't want to compromise on safety. I really like the Black Diamond trekking poles because they were very resistant, and you can pull it out to 145 centimeters. So I would really give this a a 10 out of 10 because I saw some carbon tracking poles bend or break or so, but these were the aluminiums are very resistant even if they have more than 500 gram. I also like the self ski, which is an attachment where you can add your smartphone for taking photos. That's it. Then looking into the snowy sections, I started out with these micro spikes. They are super ultralight. They are called the Grivel Spider. They only weigh 160 grams or so, and they were good for the San Jacinto section. If you are in doubt if you should take some spikes with you, take those. They are only 170 grams. When we got to the High Sierra in mid of May, I wanted to be more on the safe side, so I bought these Amazon micro spikes. They worked well, but they are kind of in X large. They are kind of 400 to 500 grams, so 3 times the weight of those, which will help you in most of the situations. Unless maybe if you have to go very steep up and down, so you needed the protection on the peak of your shoes, then they might be kind of not good enough, but for 95% of the situations, those are good enough. I had an ultralight umbrella with 100 grams only. It's a NIRPS. Didn't use it. If people like a real ultralight umbrella, that's the way to go, but I didn't use it. The chair I had for the first half of the section, I have the Helinox chair. I really liked it. I liked it especially when the evening was warm enough. You could sit outside and cook, but in most of the situations the evenings were getting cold, and during the day you could also easily find a rock to sit on. So I sent it home in the High Sierra because there were a lot of rocks which you can sit on. But if you have a hike where you try to get a lot of rest, and maybe at the lunchtime, 1 hour in the evening, sitting around having at the campfire, I really like the Helinox chair. Take the Helinox Zero, or I did the combination between the Zero and the One. I had the frame of the Helinox One with the mesh of the Helinox Zero, so at the end of it was very big, stable and comfortable, but it had only 700 grams. What else did I use? 10 out of 10 for those. The Ultra Olympus. I have very wide feet. I really liked it. I had 2 pairs of those. They are very comfortable because their cushion is very good. One thing I fixed, because I have a lot of problems, I get very soon holes in here, so I put right after I bought them some Silnet on it, and then they don't break where they typically break. Yeah, so if you put Silnet on the typical points where you get holes, Silnet will help you. You can see here after 400 miles it now got a hole at the end of where I put the Silnet, and from the sharp rocks maybe, but I really liked it. The grip is good, the cushion is good. 10 out of 10, there's no more to add. The gloves are a very interesting story, because if you go out in the High Sierra, there will be -5 degrees. If you have bad luck, then it will be -10 degrees Celsius, 10 Fahrenheit or something, and most of the gloves will fail. I had these from Scott, ultralight, failed, kind of bike gloves. I had these here, they kind of failed. Yeah, they are not warm enough if you're going out below freezing. I had, let's talk about this later, best combination I found were the wool socks from CPAX. They are the Opossum Merino wool socks, wool gloves. They were very warm, especially if you had an additional layer of protection. So I had the Enlightened Equipment rain mitts on it. So the Scott were maybe 4 out of 10. These were even only 3 out of 10. These were kind of 6 or 7 out of 10, and these were kind of 7 out of 10. They're still not really 100% warm enough. At the Myog I needed some additional hand warmers on it, but they are the best I found, the best combination. So wool together with wind protection. And those outdoor research, they maybe get an 8 out of 10 in the desert. They get very dirty, but they give you good sun protection on your hands and also a little bit of warmth in the morning. Let's get to the clothing side. Besides your hands, your feet will also get very cold. So I started with the right wool socks because they have a double layer, and for the first 2 or 3 weeks they helped me a lot. I didn't get any blisters, even if I have sensitive feet on blisters. The right wool socks helped me 3 weeks, and then they were kind of damaged. Maybe the overall lifetime was 2 months or so of them. The best socks then are, there's only one brand, which is the Darn Tough brand. I had 2 of the Darn Tough merino wool socks. But when we got late in the Sierra with all the river crossings, we needed something more because the feet were always wet. I started with the neoprene socks from Amazon. They were not very good. And then later everyone switched to the Randy Son Amazon brand waterproof socks, and they helped quite a bit to keep the feet dry, but they are a little heavy. I mean, these things weigh 100 grams or so, which is kind of a luxury weight. On the clothes section, I have to start with the things I wore all the time. These are from Colombia, my pants. These are the convertible pants where you can take off the lower legs. I really like this. When you don't have mosquitoes, you can easily take off the lower legs. And I also like the shirts. I have to say there's a lot of people who go with some kind of synthetic hoodies or so. I really like the robustness of the real shirt and the real pants. So I'll give them a 9 or 10 out of 10. They resisted to every thorn, every bush. I really love those. 9 out of 10 should be very good. One thing which was very special, which I didn't see a lot of other people using, sometimes when it was a little too cold for my shirt, I put a little wind vest. It's kind of a bike wind vest from Arc'teryx. Put on top of it. It helped me a lot. I'm a big fan of vests. 100 gram and gives you a lot of additional protection. When it got warmer, I put under my shirt, I put a very light merino hoodie. It's from Wool. They say they have the lightest merino shirts with some 15% addition of nylon, which makes it ultra resistant. I would give it maybe a 10 out of 10. It's super ultra light, 170 grams. For the nights, I used the Patagonia, but you can see from the size that the Patagonia is much bigger. But I used it for the night. It's a 50% mix of merino and polyester or so. Maybe, I don't know if it's really warmer than the wool, but it's a little bulkier and I have the pants to it. I love to have sleeping clothes because it helped me to keep my sleeping bag kind of not too dirty. And I think I have to say the sleeping bag is still good enough after 3.5 months, 3 months of usage. It does not stink too much, so I really benefited from having the night clothes. And so these were the things I wore most of the time. Then on top of it, I had the C-Packs Vertis rain pants. If it was very cold, maybe 10% of the nights, I put it over my sleeping clothes. I rarely used it for wind and rain. Maybe we had only 1 day of rain. And then I had the Enlightened Equipment rain jacket. Used it when it was cold. I didn't use it all. My puffy, when walking, I had the Mountain Hardware Ghost Whisperer, the puffy, which most of the people have, the down puffy. I really liked it. It is super light. You can compress it down, 240 grams. The rain things have maybe 100 grams each. Yeah, so it's all very light. And one trick for the for the sun is, if you have a cap on like me, I had all the time the cap, and it was getting too hot, I was putting a bandana under my cap, and this helped quite a lot to reduce the heat. Yeah, did I forget something? No, this was probably my rating. If you want to see it yeah, I think I gave you the points for most of the items. If I forgot something, I maybe add it in the comment section. But this is what I used on my Pacific Crest Trail on the first half.